round of the Monday League for Tier 6. This week we are here at Interlagos. I will wait for a few moments before we start. Let a few people join in as well. It's been a while since we visited Tier 6. A bit of a gap, but if we should probably catch up with the current championship standings. So after 2 rounds, one moment. Okay. Yeah. So after 2 rounds, Simba has a 20-point lead at the top of the standings with 78 points. It's been quite a dominant season for Simba. 2 wins and 2 second places with 3 fastest laps and a pole position. Very impressive. His teammate Abhi is in the other Ferrari, who is with 58 points, 20 points down on the leader, which is, I think, it is in fact the biggest gap from between any two drivers, quite amazingly, this early on in the season. But there is a good battle brewing up for second at the moment between Abhi and Michel Beaumont in the Subaru. An unfortunate disconnect, I think it was in the second round for Michel at Trial Mountain, which because of which he's only at 55 points. Then his teammate Rius is 13 points behind, 42, 3 6th place finishes, and pole position. Sorry, no, not pole position. So 3 6th place finishes. The third. Blade Runner in the leading Renault is in 5th place, who grabbed pole last time out at Trial Mountain. All right, so we have a few people here. So let's quickly run through the order of the grid. So we have Gaz starting in P15. Gaz hasn't had a great qualifying so far. This is in his second race. Gaz did miss the opener. Then we have 4th place in the standings. Rius is qualified P14. Somehow Rius has not been qualifying very well so far in the league, but the race results have been much better. Then in 13th we have Aston Villa dominating livery, Inorganic. Again, another driver who's not had the greatest qualifying, but a couple of good race results for Inorganic. Then Sleepy in P12 in the Rich Energy liveried Audi, the R8. Boyan in P11. That's quite a big gap actually between. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, Boyan in P11, and he's accompanied by his teammate Ayrton Jenna at not his home track, but somewhat similar. Actually, I just realized that this might have started. Okay, that's what was wrong. Right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So Ayrton Jenna in 10th. Then we have Gabo in his home race in 9th in a pretty nice, the old Renault livery from 0506 from Fernando Alonso and Fisichella. That's a very nice livery. In his home race, 9th for Gabo. 8th, Danos starting in 8th in the Lamborghini. Gumb in 7th in the Porsche. Gumb has had a decently good season so far. If my memory serves me correctly, Gumb had a podium at some point in the season. I think it was at Trial Mountain. Perhaps I might be wrong, but Gumb has been doing generally well. Jaden qualifying very well in P6, the leading Audi in the field. IJF In fifth, so the two emergency Lamborghinis in fifth and eighth, which is pretty decent qualifying, but they did qualify well at Barcelona as well, and they fell off quite dramatically afterwards. I hope they can do better here. Michel in P4, third place in the standings, and his immediate rival for second is in P3, Abhi. Both of them have been doing well, good consistent results overall. Blade Runner has shown promising pace in certain races and not so promising pace in certain parts of the races. Abhi in third place, also in second in the standings, and Simba leading the race, the pack, the championship, everything at the moment. It's been kind of a dream season, really. There's no stopping these guys. So yeah, I think that's the roundup of the grid. So let's see how this one went down. Right, let's start. So we have 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 lights, and that's a long hole. Lights out, and away we go. Simba looks like he's got off to a good start. Abhi looks like the other Ferrari is also launched off well. Blade Runner's second place is in trouble. In fact, Abhi's managed to make a pass round the outside. Michel is trying to hold on, rather make a pass for third, but Blade Runner holding the inside line through the Senna S's and holding on to P3. Going further down the back, we see Ayrton Senna has moved up 4 places. At the top title is Jaden. Jaden. Well, Ayrton Senna had a great start, and that looks like that might have compromised the. Let's take a look at the start from Ayrton Senna's perspective. Let's see what happened here. So, Ayrton Senna, here we go. 5 lights, and lights are out, and bad start for Danos, bad start for Gabo and Ayrton Senna both going past them. Danos being slightly later, but couldn't make that work. Bit of argy-bargy there, a little bit, but makes it work his favor and P6, and then let's just take a look at what happened in front of these guys. Jaden pushes off one of the Ferraris, goes wide on his own as well. Abhi as well struggling. Abhi's gone a long way away. Abhi's out, I think. Yeah, Abhi quit, and that caused Jaden remain in 5th. Gabo took full advantage of that, gaining 5 places at the start. Gumb also making good work of other people's mistakes. It looks like Abhi is quit actually, perhaps. So it seems at the moment. Gumb in P5, Danos in P6, IJF in 7th, Sleepy in 8th, Boyan moves up a couple of places to 9th. Inorganic doing well off the start. As is Ryu's getting 4 places. Oh, Abhi's not quit, it's just fallen all the way down to 13th. My bad, I'm so sorry about that. Ayrton Senna after that fantastic start, and Tyler Jaden, the 3 guys who were involved in that incident, really. Abhi will try to fight his way back. I think the target now for Abhi is to damage limitation and see if he can get as close to 10th or even gain 10th place, because, well, 10th place is right there. Well, never mind, 10th place is his. So yeah, I think holding on to 10th will be very important. Okay, let's quickly go back to the front, where Simba has once again just thundered off at the top of the pack, just leading the race. Well, Blade Runner is keeping him honest of sorts, but the two of them have generated quite a lead over Michel in 3rd place. So considering it's only been just over a lap. Gabo in 4th and Gumb in 5th. So those 5, I think, so there are a few gaps in between them as well, but the gap between 5th and 6th is sort of a really big one. Danos is in 6th and Fudo in 7th. Let's follow these guys for a few moments. I wonder what happened to IJF. I see IJF is in 11. IJF must have made a mistake somewhere. As we see Abhi having already clawed his way back to P9, I think that was. As Danos has pulled away quite a bit in the Lambo away from that R8, but we know the R8 is going to be decently good at the cornering sections of this track. And as we see Danos then sleepy, inorganic in 8th. Abhi is in 9th, having passed Gabo and IJF with 10th and 11th. As Gabo is going wide there. Oh, Gabo went wide, I think gave up that place to IJF. Let's follow Abhi as he tries to mount, limit rather the damage from this race. I think his next target is right in front of him, organic, rather inorganic. Yeah. So I think there might be a decent possibility of trying to move down here. Into this sort of hairpin corner. Otherwise, probably the only other good point to make an overtake work would be at turn 1, I think, unless you see an obvious error from the car in front. Yeah, Abhi is slowly creeping up to the back of inorganic. Let's see if the exit is good enough. Perhaps the move can be made going down into turn 1, and if I'm honest, that might look like it's good enough, really. The gap is closing slowly and steadily, but is it going to be enough, I wonder. Not enough in the end. It seems Abhi not really even trying to make a move, just putting in clean laps at the moment. I think he might be hoping that inorganic makes a mistake, or maybe the strategy is now just to try and take 9th place as is. Well, as we see inorganic defending into turn 4, which might have that might have just cost him. Yeah, that defensive maneuver I think cost inorganic more, because Abhi I don't think would have looked to make a pass there. I don't know if he was even within range of making a pass on that occasion. But inorganic going defensive and losing out on that occasion. So Abhi now in 8th place. Inorganic going slightly wide from that, just in the back of the shot. And 2 more targets here for Abhi in Sleepy and then Danos, I think, who has a 1.5 second penalty. Maybe it's just 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, it is 1.5 seconds. So yeah, as Danos serves the penalty, Abhi gets 1 more position, another free position here. Now Abhi setting his sights on P6 on Fudo, and the last lap was at 32.7. I think P6 might just be sort of the limit of what he might be able to achieve in this one. Let's take a look at what's happening in front. Gum also doing low 32s, high 33s, as is Abhi, also in traffic, but let's see how the top 5 are doing. Gabo is opened up a bit of a gap to Gum, chasing after Michel in 3rd. Making the most of Abhi's demise. Not demise, actually, probably the mishap is rather the right word. Blade Runner holding on to 2nd place, and Simba is, well, that's pretty impressive lap time wise. It's almost a second lap quicker than Blade Runner in 4th. In 2nd, my apologies. So So Simba is sort of on his own in this one again. Second, third, fourth in one group, and actually fifth, Gump as well in part of that group. Sleepy is keeping up with Abhi, and as we see, Abhi is trying to make the pass around the outside, going the long way. Maybe it would have been slightly more beneficial to just stick to the slipstream here, but Abhi choosing not to do that, but going around the outside of turn one. Will he be able to make that move stick? Braking earlier as Futo going a little deeper into the corner, but makes it in regardless. But you can see Abhi's exit is going to be much better here because Abhi was on the power earlier through the center S's, and Abhi will be trying to line up a pass going into turn 4. Sleepy going defensive once again. Now the question is if Sleepy can get the car stopped and stop Abhi from executing an undercut. Oh, Sleepy! No, Sleepy has a sort of a half spin and goes into the wall. That is very unfortunate. Damage as well, and that puts Sleepy back in the fray of the Lamborghinis and inorganic. So 10th for Sleepy after that damage, as Aero and Jenna will try and close in from 11th against Sleepy. Gaz in 12th, Ryu's in 13th. Ryu's and Boyan having quite a battle. I think Ryu's also at some point had some sort of an incident after a wonderful start. And Boyan just trying to make a pass. I wonder if that will materialize at any point. Ryu's has just not had a great set of laps here in the sprint. Quite surprisingly, for the man in 4th in the championship. Boyan, on the other hand, I think Boyan had an incident at some point. Tireless Jaden we saw on the opening lap had it was a terrible opening lap. I think stopped as well after that. Maybe not stopped, I think, but lost a lot of time, 30-35 seconds on the opening lap. Anyways, going back to the front of the field, as we see Simba is running away with it because, my gosh, the lap times are so consistent. Is that right? Yeah, that's 4 laps within 4 thousandths, rather not 4,000, yeah, 400ths of each other. Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's pretty consistent, it must be said. To be fair, Blade Runner has also started to come towards those lap times, but Simba has pulled out such an advantage already that it doesn't seem to be relevant unless Simba makes a mistake. Simba's tyre wear is also pretty similar to that of Blade Runner, so yeah. As Michel crosses the line in 3rd with 3 laps to go, and Gabo in 4th. Gabo has made some sort of a mistake, I think, because the gap has opened up between those guys. As Abhi, I see Abhi has made a move for 5th. I think Gum also must have made a mistake because Gum was quite close behind Gabo, and that's given Abhi back one more position. And considering what happened at the start and the fact that Abhi was almost dead last after the opening lap, P5 would be a result. I think he would be quite happy with 5th after that one. Gump in P6, which is a decent result. Gump qualified 7th, so that's not all that bad. The 2 Lamborghinis in 7th and 8th at the moment. Not much competition. Sleepy in 9th. I'm certain they were fighting with somebody. I think Inorganic was they were fighting with Inorganic. What happened to Inorganic? Inorganic must have had some pretty large incident. Yeah, we see on lap 7 lost a lot of time, and also what would have been a great starting position in the feature race also slipping away at the moment. Gaz in 11th, sort of the unluckiest place to finish in one of these races. Ayrton Jenna will be thanking his lucky stars. At the moment, reverse grid pole is in the hands of Ayrton Jenna. But I wonder if Inorganic or anyone else has the pace to catch up to Ayrton Senna in the last couple of laps, or if someone makes a mistake and takes too long to recover, then Gaz is in a great position then to capitalize on that. I think this battle would be quite interesting to watch. If someone makes a mistake. Meanwhile, Inorganic in 12th, Boyan in 13th, not having the greatest race, and the same can be said for Rius, who's by the looks of it made another mistake and let Boyan also slip by. Jaden in 15th having a terrible opening lap, a terrible race afterwards. Simba leading the race. Let's quickly switch over to 7th and 8th, Danos and IJF, which looks like the closest battle on track at the moment. Danos, I believe Danos was in fact, actually, IJF was the leading Lamborghini in qualifying, so IJF has lost a little bit of ground to his teammate, not all that much though. And he has probably a chance to claw back some points and some personal glory, it must be said, because if they stick to this order, as long as they don't hit each other off the track or something of that magnitude. But mostly quite a spread out field for once. Usually there's quite a bit of chaos. As we see, Gumb in front has a 1 second penalty. Don't know if that will end up mattering if Danos or IJF and IJF rather can catch up and make that advantage. Make up the gap to the Porsche in front. Gumb is really struggling with tire wear in comparison to the Lambos. So I thought, yeah, a little bit. I think not so much on the front right, but on the front left and the rear left. Abhi had a fantastic race as well, having found himself at last at one point. Let's focus our attention on what has been a dominant drive from pole, leading every moment of this race, and coming home to see the checkered flag in first. Simba, what a fantastic drive. It must be said, Blade Runner crossing the line in P2, and Michel in third, having gained a few points over his rival for second place. Gabo in his home race in fourth place, and good points for the Renault boys. Abhi coming home in fifth, fantastic recovery from what was 13th or 14th after lap 1. Gum, despite that penalty, looks like he will hold on to 6th as Danos in 7th and IJF finishes in 8th. Sleepy ends up finishing in 9th place, which will be second for the reverse grid pole, and 10th place for Ayrton Senna, who will be on pole position for the feature. The man who's had a couple of great starts but not great conversions yet in the sprint. Inorganic finishing in 11th, Boyan finishing in 12th, as Gaz, I think, made a mistake in the last couple of laps to finish 13th. Ryu's not having a great race after all. Hopefully, for his sake, I hope a better feature race will follow. And finally, Jaden, who qualified really well. I think it was 6th place for Jaden in the Audi, but just could not convert on this occasion. So yeah, that's the sprint race. A lot of chaos in the opening laps, where everything sort of spread out towards the end, it must be said. Okay, and breathe. So that leaves us with an interesting order for the feature race. Let me switch over to that. But this sets up the feature race very well, because Abhi will be starting in 6th place, much further ahead of the other guys in the top sort of 3-4 in the championship. Round 3 feature. Right. let this load up. Let's see if it works. But it's been a good round for the. From a team standings perspective, it's been a good round for the two Ferraris finishing first and fifth in the sprint, and the two Renaults in second and fourth. Let's quickly turn on the replay so I don't see any results. Okay. And okay. So quickly let's take a look at the grid order and what tires they're on. So Ayrton Senna in pole position on hards, Sleepy House on hards, IJF on mediums, Danos on hards, Gumb on mediums, Abhi's on hards, Kappa's on hards, Michel's on hards, Blade Runner on hards, Simba's on hards, Inorganic, and okay, so Gaz is on mediums. Okay, so only 3 guys on the mediums, if I got that right. Danos, sorry, IJF, Gumb, and Gaz, right? Yeah, okay. So only looks like the 2 different strategies, so medium hard versus hard medium probably, is what we're looking at strategy wise. So let's take a look at what goes down here. Ayrton Senna in the most promising position of them all, 26 laps to make this work. IJF on mediums is probably the one we should be looking out for, as Danos really overshoots. Abhi also going quite deep into the corner, but I think that there may have been some strategy involved there which didn't work out as well. Danos going quite a bit wide. IJF ends up losing a place to Gumb and 1 place to Gabo. So as we see a battle for the lead brewing, Ayrton Senna choosing not to defend the inside line, and it works out in the end. Gumb making a half spin from 4th, as there is chaos in the midfield, in the middle of that pack. IJF is somehow still in 4th, Michel on the outside in 5th, Gumb is still in 6th place, with the 2 Ferraris in 7th and 8th. Abhi not able to make up too many places, in fact dropping down a couple of places to 8th, as IJF falls yet another place. Gumb on the mediums, making it work down the inside of IJF, who's also on mediums actually. Ayrton Senna still holding on to the lead. Let's see, take a look at what further back. Blade Runner in 9th, not really having made too many moves. Inorganic in 10th, Gaz is finds itself in 11th, Danos having gone wide in turn 1, 12th, Jaden in 13th, Ryu's 14th, and Boyan finds himself all the way at the back of the field in 15th, having started, I believe it was in 11th place. So the 2 Mercs in 1st and 15th. So the rest of the field is in a Merc sandwich. Yeah, probably. I should refrain from saying such things. Anyway, so I spotted Gumb in 5th, has a 1.5 second penalty, and Simba behind him who will be on a rampage, at least based on the evidence of that sprint. I wonder how he does in the traffic, whether he has the racecraft and the ability to pass these guys smartly without losing too much time. He does have the medium shod Lamborghini behind him. Michel finds himself in 4th behind the home race, the local boy Gabo. Fudo in 2nd is sort of holding up the rest of the pack, as Ayrton Senna is making a run for it, really. Fudo is really sort of the bottleneck, if you will, allowing Ayrton Senna to get quite a sizable advantage early on in the race after a couple of laps. Looks like it's just over 2 seconds, that gap. So Fudo in 2nd, holding up the rest of the pack. Gabo in 3rd, Michel in 4th. Simba manages to make a move to 5th, but I saw IGF was off track for some reason. Gumb was serving a penalty. Okay, IGF was... Okay, it was not Simba, it was Abhi who was getting past, and IGF, I think, made some sort of mistake. As the Huracan decides to try and go down the inside, but Abhi does not let that happen so easily. And he outbreaks the Lamborghini and retains 6th place, IGF in 7th. Gumb after that penalty in P8, Blade Runner still in 9th, and Inorganic sitting in 10th place. We made up a couple of places, in fact, just the one place, I think, from 10th. Gaz in 11th, Ryu's in 12th, Boyan in 13th, and Dana's having fairly terrible race in 14th, and I think Jaden's made a mistake again somewhere, unfortunately for him, and finds himself quite a long way off the back of the pack. So I think Sleepy's managed to make a pass on Fudo somewhere. Let's have a quick look at where that happened. Oh, that contact. I wonder if there was some contact there. Let's take a look. As Fudo defends the inside but overshoots. Okay, no contact then. As Gabo raises, is elevated into P2, and Fudo gets a 1 second penalty for his troubles of going off track. Michel in 4th, coming steadily under pressure from Simba. In fact, Simba just goes past Michel just like that at probably one of the faster corners on this track. Abhi in P6 now, and now right behind Michel. We sort of were robbed of this battle in the sprint, but we have it here in the feature. On lap number 3, Fudo does have a 1 second penalty, which will probably be quite costly, I imagine. As Michel tries to make a move down the inside of Simba, I don't think that worked out as well as for anybody. Not really, no. Michel is trying to go down the inside of Sleepy, up here on the outside of Sleepy, and Sleepy doesn't have the speed, so he is passed by both of them. As Abhi is already ahead of the BRZ. BRZ's straight line speed really hampering it down that straight against Ferrari, which had the slipstream advantage as well. And Fudo's penalty has dropped into P8 and has allowed Simba to sneak up into 3rd place. And Ayrton Senna looks like that gap which we were talking about a couple of seconds has sort of evaporated, but Gabo going too deep and allowing Ayrton Senna to execute the cutback, and now finds himself under pressure from Simba. And we see a yellow flag. Oh, okay, that's gone. As Gabo is now defending from Simba quite heavily. Let's see if Simba can make a pass on Gabo, and I wonder how Simba would execute such a pass. Abhi we see in P4 having made the pass on Michel down the straight into turn 1 of the previous lap. As Gabo finds himself once again quite close behind the leader Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna, oh, that's a very, very tight line through the final corner, and that compromises, I think, both of them, as Simba is really close behind. But I think Simba manages to sort of push Ayrton Senna, and there is all sorts of chaos as to who is going where. Ayrton Senna just holding on to the racing line. Gabo might try to make a move down the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of movement under braking, and Gabo, there must have been some contact there. That just looked so wonky. Let's take a look here. Oh, maybe not contact. You can. I'm sorry, Gabo. That's the second time that's happened. Ayrton Senna, I think, just outbraked himself going into turn 1, and that elevates Gabo into the lead of the race. Ayrton Senna holding on to 2nd place, but one wonders how long that he will hold on to it. As Simba in the inside line, Gabo claims at the very last moment, just before braking, and executes. Doesn't allow the move to be completed. Simba is darting left and right, but will he be able to complete the move here around the outside of turn number 6? This turn 6-7 complex. No, not yet. And every sort of corner that Simba spends behind Ayrton Senna here, Gabo is going to run away, and Gabo is no slouch. Gabo managed to finish, I think it was P4 in the end in the sprint. Oh, Simba got so much of a better exit. I think got surprised by Ayrton Senna there. No damage on the Ferrari, the lead Ferrari yet, thankfully for him. But Simba going a little bit wide, Abhi going quite a bit wide. Losing a few places there to Gumb as well. Michel in 5th, and Sleepy having started in 2nd place in the sprint, manages to find himself in 6th place. Gumb also must be remembered that Gumb was on the medium tires, so it's not surprising to see Gumb managing to outperform all these guys. Just a little bit, as we see Simba is right on the tail of Ayrton Senna here, trying to make use of the slipstream and perhaps a move into turn 4, but no, doesn't look like it. As Simba is still behind the mug. Ayrton Senna, it must be said, is doing a really good job here of keeping up with Gabo and sort of keeping Simba behind as well, honestly. I can't imagine it would be easy to have to drive knowing that somebody who is so dominant in clear air behind you. There's obviously some sort of a mental game going on. And that's from experience. I mean, I don't like people who are quicker than me behind me. But Ayrton Senna is doing a really wonderful job of holding on to P2. In fact, this wonderful job is allowing Gumb on medium tires to close in on Simba. Oh, just as I say that, Ayrton Senna going wide, and he allows Simba to go through, even allows Gumb to go through. It was all going so well. Well, Simba now setting his sights on Gabo, as Ayrton Senna going down the inside of Gumb. On one compound worst tires, Ayrton Senna making full use of the big bulky Merc engine down the main straight and sends it down the inside of turn 1, and Gumb left without an answer. Ayrton Senna, Ayrton Senna is going wide already, I think, and got a helping hand from Gumb there as well. And that mistake allowed Michel to go through, and now a lot of pressure, probably Fudo will be applying a lot of pressure on Ayrton Senna. As we see, Gumb loses a place to Michel here. Michel manages to climb his way up into 3rd place, as that order settles down a little bit. We see Simba. Oh, Simba's made a move for the lead. Let's see what that happened. It just happened. I caught that. Is there any contact there? Doesn't look like any contact. Looks like Gabo just went wide on his own accord, and that allows Simba to move into the lead of the race. That's quite amazing. Not very surprising, but it is quite amazing that Simba in just 7 laps has managed to go from what was 10th on the grid to the lead, albeit thanks to a lot of mistakes from all the others around him. But he managed to keep his nose clean, and worked out well for him. Now it's just a matter of keeping control, as Gumb and Michel fighting for 3rd. Gumb holding on to 3rd position. Actually, I think Gumb made a pass, and Michel loses it coming through the Senna S's, and loses a couple of positions and find himself doing battle with Abhi's Ferrari. Rather, in fact, Michel is going to be behind Abhi's Ferrari going into turn 4. Very costly mistake for Michel, who loses 3 places at least. I think Michel was in third 1 lap earlier, so that's terrible news for the Subaru. Gaz doing well in P8. It's probably about time that we take a look a little further back. Gaz doing a stellar job in 8th, and well, IJF not having such a great day. Again, IJF also one of the 3 people who decided to choose the medium tires, so I would have thought IJF could make further inroads. Blade Runner also not really able to drive or rather take advantage as some of the other leaders have, it must be said. Inorganic in 11th with a 2.5 second penalty, unfortunately. I think that would put Inorganic in the mix with Rius, perhaps even behind Rius and with Boyan. Dados in 14th. We saw the mistake at turn 1, but I think it's sort of been downhill from there, and it looks like Jayden's left after what was a terrible couple of laps in the starting. So Simba now leading this race. Gabo in 30. Wow, okay, sorry, no. Gabo in second, sliding around all the way through turn 4. It's not what I was expecting to see, but well controlled, must be said. Gumb is third, making the most of those medium tires, and Abhi finds himself in 4th place. Ayrton Senna still in 5th. It's been a really decent drive from Ayrton Senna, and I wonder where this pace was during the sprint. Maybe it's just a matter of not having a clean sprint, perhaps, for Ayrton Senna. Michel in 6th place. I think Fudo's made a mistake which has allowed Michel to gain one of those places back which she lost because of that mistake in the Senna SS. As Fudo makes another mistake, going too wide at the final corner, allowing IJF on the mediums to go through. That's not one that would be too concerning for the Audi. Let's see how he responds down the main straight. Would have expected the Audi to make a pass at some point as he goes down the inside. He is down the inside, and his camera angles are terrible. Barely see the pass. Oh, and IJF makes a mistake there. Unfortunately, at the side of the road, doing battle with Sleepy, or slightly behind Sleepy, in fact, at that point. And that allows Gaz to be in 8th place. It's been a decently good drive from Gaz, being consistent. I think sometimes that really is the key. Blade Runner in 9th, having started 9th, I think, as well. Ryu's managing to elevate himself into 10th place, and Inorganic in 11th after that 2.5 second penalty. Boyan in 12th, IJF after that disaster in 13th, and the 2 Lamborghinis really having a race to forget here. Unfortunately for them, it's been this case of qualifying well, okay, sprint, and then this happens in the features. It's the second race out of 3 that's happened, so hopefully they can find a cure to this problem sooner rather than later. As we jump back in with our leader, Simba. I'm sort of running out of superlatives to say about this guy. He's probably already about 5 seconds in front of P2. Like this is insane. This is crazy. It's not supposed to be this this easy. And I think if he keeps these kind of performances up, promotion to one of the higher tiers is really on the cards for Simba. And yeah, I think the racecraft and in this one to be to have gotten 2 P1 from P10 and making good, clever, smart passes to get to the lead. That was that was shown quite well in this one. The racecraft was pretty impressive as well. I don't think I saw any contact in any of the moves that I saw anyway. Quick word about that livery. There's a lot of Indian brands I recognize, being Indian myself. I see IPL, I see ISRO, I see the thing that the truck drivers put at the back of the truck saying "Horn okay please," and Indian Oil and a lot. That's quite cool to see. It's rare to have Indian drivers in the league, so it's a cool thing to see all those Indian brands on a car livery. Yeah. I also see OnePlus and Britannia and Amul, and I don't know how much of these are known outside, but yeah. Anyway, coming back to the race, Gabo, despite making the mistake, finds himself B2 and very comfortable B2, it must be said, as Ayrton Senna finds himself in third after all the fighting and all that. Third place for Ayrton Senna before the stops. Pretty impressive, as I see Gum and Michel have a... Oh no, what just happened there? So Gum went wide and Michel... Gum went wide, spun and then spun into Michel, and both cars now facing the wrong direction. That is so unfortunate for Michel, and really getting caught up in an accident not of his own. That promotes Sleepy to fourth. So the guys who were in first and second at the starting of this feature have still managed to retain third and fourth. So yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster of a race for Sleepy. Abhi manages to find himself in fifth place again. As Blade Runner's consistency has managed to get him to sixth. And Gaz, quite possibly Gaz made a mistake at some point, because Gaz was ahead of Blade Runner. I think a lot of these guys made mistakes because Blade Runner's made up quite a lot of time even on Abhi and Sleepy and those guys. As I think this 1.5 second penalty will force the loss of one position as Michel goes past. But I wonder if Gum will be able to catch up. I don't think so. As Gum pits, Gum becomes the first of the guys to pit. Gum, of course, was on the medium compound tires. I wonder how the other medium compound runners are doing. IJF on mediums, 12th place, not really all that great. Who was the other medium runner? Oh, Gaz was the other medium runner. Okay. Yeah. Okay. My apologies. Yeah, so Gaz has done pretty well in this first stint, but I think it'll be a matter of consolidating and solidifying this position. Probably, I expect in a couple of laps, Gaz will pit. Well, it's quite a decent stint to do 13 laps on the medium compound tires. And I think if 13 laps are possible, I wonder how many of the people will pit in this lap. Let's see, Simba doesn't stop. The Brazilian, the hometown hero, Capo doesn't stop. Ayrton Senna doesn't look like he's stopping, no. Ayrton Senna carries on for another lap as well. Sleepy and Abhi are having a disagreement over fourth place, which at the moment Abhi is going to try and make a move around the outside of turn 1. And still side by side, good respectful racing between the two drivers. But it seems like Furo holding the outside around turn 2 has allowed him to keep fourth place for the moment, but Abhi is right at the back of that Audi, and Now again they're going side by side through turn 4. That's not going to work out. Robbie. He's going to get the door shut on his face. Still just nose to tail here for the Ferrari against the Audi, but can't find the right place to make a pass, and Futo's defending pretty well as well, putting his car at all the right places and not allowing Abhi to get the exit that he wants, and making the right defensive moves as well. Let's just stick with this battle and see if one of them pits. It should be interesting to see, because Abhi can probably pit a little earlier if he has the confidence. We know that Abhi's tires are he can maintain the tires pretty well. Yeah, there we go. As I say that, Abhi goes into the pits. The way that looked quite dodgy to me. I wonder if he will get a penalty for that one. That temporarily puts Blade Runner in 5th place and Michel in 6th. Reuse is in 8th without having not stopped. Gaz doing a pretty long sprint on the mediums. This is going to be lap number 15. Inorganic also pitting in this lap. Danas hasn't stopped. Gum has stopped from, I think, 4th place. Yeah, I think it is 4th place for Gum. So it'll be interesting to see where Abhi comes out in respect to Gum. As long as Gum hasn't made a mistake. See, Abhi's already leading the pits. Abhi's quite a long way ahead of Gum, surprisingly. Even though Abhi's picked up far more fuel. I think at some point Gum must have made a mistake. Oh yeah, I think Gum did make a mistake. Oh yeah, Gum did make a mistake. Oh, my bad. Okay. That's terrible from me. But in any case, sorry about that. So Abhi at the moment, the leading runner of those who have not yet stopped. Gaz really probably stopping in this lap, but I think the last couple of laps have been terrible for Gaz. Just having no grip on that rear right, can't put the power down, and you can see how much time he's losing to the Ferrari behind. Oh. Well, Gaz really struggling here. Hopefully he can make it into the pits. Abhi didn't get a penalty. I think that just must have been the lag, the way that the bit of lag there was showing up. Danas in 8th, Rios 7th. Michel with half a second penalty in 6th. Michel was in front of Gumb at the start of the stops. So it should be interesting to see how if Michel remains in front, because the penalty and the extra laps on slightly older hards, but even though it is on lesser fuel. Later on in 5th and Sleepy in 4th, doing a couple of laps extra here in comparison to the Ferrari that they were fighting against, and I wonder how that's going to affect. As we see the leader Simba is into the pits, having done 16 laps on the hard compound tires, so I think just 10 laps for them on. I think a lot of the guys are pitting in now. Yeah, Gabo pits, as does Ayrton Senna, Futo as well, Blade Runner as well, Michel pits as well. Ryu's also probably pitting in this lap, I hope. Yep, Ryu's pits now, close to the pit line. Dano's pits, I wonder, probably. Let's have a look. No, Dano's car is on for another lap. So back at the front of the field, we see that Simba is emerging from the pit lane. Has emerged from the pit lane, in fact. Gabo. Wow, okay. Airtown Jenna is on softs for this final stint. That's a bold decision. That's a pretty scary decision, actually. As we see, Abhi. Yeah, Abhi is going to jump Sleepy by about 2 seconds. So the undercut has worked in his favor, but now the question is, will his tyres last to the end of the race? For me, the bigger question now really is whether Ayrton Senna's tyres will last to the end of the race, because softs for 10 laps, surely that's a misclick. If it's not, that'd be pretty impressive if that was planned. Because that's fourth at the moment, and that's going to be third because Daniels has to pit, and Daniels should pit at the end of this lap. Gabo in second place in the Renault, the old Renault livery. I can't remember the name of the livery at this moment, but the Enstone Renault. I'm not sure what it's called really. Mile 7 thing. Anyway, Dano's carrying on for another lap. I don't know what the plan here is. I wonder. Perhaps it's just to go onto the softs as Ayrton Senna has done. But after a lap, those softs look like they are quite worn. So, I mean, on the opening lap, usually the tyres really will not have too much degradation. So, I mean, Abhi's tyres are like 4 laps old, and you see the amount of drag he has. So it's a little surprising, really, the decision to go on softs that earlier. Fudo in 6 finds a decent gap to Blade Runner in 7th. I think that is surprisingly, Blade Runner is filled up with less fuel. Both of them ahead of Michelle, who is ahead of Gumb. Rios finds himself in 10th, and whoa, pretty interesting battle here brewing for 10th place. 7 seconds penalty for Rios. I am curious how that happened. Okay, let's have a look what happened here. So Rios decides to just go wide, or not use the steering inputs properly there. I think Inorganic also made that mistake, but Inorganic came back on track. So Inorganic got 3.5 seconds penalty. Rios got 7 seconds. That I think will end the conversation for 10th place. At least for the moment, as Boyan will grab hold of 10th, and IJF will try and chase down 10th place. Gaz emerged in 14th, having on softs, but I think Gaz at some point. Oh yeah, Gaz lost a lot of time on the worn mediums, on the in lap and the lap before that. I think that cost a lot of time for Gaz. Dano's finally putting a stop to that long stint. 18 laps on the hard compound tires, as Simba and Gabo have really sort of locked up 1 and 2 unless they make some pretty big mistakes. Ayrton Senna is decently clear in 3rd as well, but the question of the tires lasting will be interesting. Abhi in 4th place at the moment. Interesting to see what will happen there. Fudo in 5th, just about keeping it in. Nope, not keeping it in. My apologies then. Fudo getting 1.5 second penalty. That looked quite doubtful to me in any case. Going wide at that turn 6, turn 7 is not going to help, and Blade Runner going past. Blade Runner making his way up to 5th place after all that. And I think Michelle is going to also be the beneficiary of the penalty that's been given out to Fudo. Gumb in 8th place on the alternate strategy, which has really not worked out, I think, today for either guys, any of the guys on that alternate strategy, because Boyan is I think the IGF is in 10th, but on now harder compound tires than Boyan. Actually, that really seemed to make a difference all that much. Boyan is sort of struggling, and Boyan has quite a bit of tyre wear. He did stop on lap, by the looks of it, he stopped at the end of lap 13, so yeah, that'll be tough. And yeah, Boyan has been passed by Danos. Mistake coming through there, I think. Just quickly, let me rewind. I was looking at the lap times when that happened. Yeah, mistake from Boyan allowing IGF to go through. That's an interesting battle. I'm sure that's brewing up. Danos is closing in from behind, I presume on the softs, yeah? The soft compound tyres on the Lamborghini behind. So that should be interesting to see which of those three will be at the end, on the top in the end. Inorganic in 12th place on the standard strategy. Drews in 13th, Gads in 14th. Let's see what's the closest battle at the moment. Are we in 4th? What happened to Sleepy? Something. Oh yeah, the penalty. Okay. There's not really a lot going on except this battle. So let's just watch this for a while. Let's see where this leads. With IJF leading this quartet of drivers on the hards, Boyan on mediums, on decently old mediums as well, must be said, but on mediums nonetheless. As Boyan, I thought Danos was trying to make a move. I think Danos was trying to make a move, made a mess of the move, and now falls behind Inorganic, who has opportunistically managed to find a place in P11. And defended, it must be said, defended quite well against the soft shod Lamborghini. Boyan very quietly driving around in 10th. The IGF has opened a little bit of a gap, it must be said. I wonder as well if Boyan's tyres are going to last to the end, as these guys are spreading out as well quite a bit. Wonder if Danos can make a pass on Inorganic. Perhaps not at the moment. Doesn't look like it anyway, even though it's Danos is on the softs. So what kind of lap times are these guys doing? Let's take it from the top. So Simba on the mediums is doing 32.6, 33.5, 33.4. Not too bad. Gabo is in second doing sort of mid 34. So Simba is really like a full second a lap faster than the rest of the pack. It's almost really insane how much pace Simba has. And yeah, Ayrton Jenna's softs are still there, but 5 more laps on that, I don't like the prospect of that. Don't think those tyres are going to hold up really, and that would be terrible for Ayrton Senna, who's driven so well in this race, starting from pole and really deserved third, except for that probably a misclick. I can't imagine that would be that was not a misclick. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. But looking like terrible fortune for Ayrton Senna, who I think even after a pit stop might not finish that far back. Might only lose 5 or 6 places. I say only relatively. Ford will probably be the biggest beneficiary from that impending disaster, it must be said, unfortunately. Blade Runner in 5th will also gain a position. Looking like that at the moment. Michelle in 6th, doing 33.5, 33.6. Good last couple of laps from Michelle, as well as from Blade Runner as well. He's a little bit slower than these guys. Ayrton Senna is also doing sort of high 33s, low 34s. This Gaz stops and gets new softs. Oh, that's the first time I've seen. Oh, new mediums rather. That's the first time I've seen the tires sort of fill up with the graphic. Interesting. Yeah, mid 33s for Simba. Yeah, Ayrton Senna stops from third. It's I feel terrible. That's a result that was there for the taking. New softs for Ayrton Senna, who will emerge what looks like 7th place. So surprisingly, only losing 4 places despite that stop. Sleepy in 6th. Great result for Sleepy, it must be said. If you can hold on then. Yeah, so okay, returning back to my... So Gumb in the 36s, 37s on hards. Danos on softs doing... Danos on softs has managed to make a pass on the rest of the guys. IJF in 10th has 3 seconds of penalty, and Boyan in 11th, and Inorganic is still sort of holding on around there. These guys have been battling for a bit. As Ryu stops as well for a set of stops, maybe to try and snag away the fastest lap possibly. Gaz not having a great race, about to be lapped I think by, already having been lapped by the 2 leaders, and about to be lapped by 3rd placed Abhi. He's gone off track to make that happen. Generally I don't think you need to do that. The game really gives the blue flag thing quite early. Even sometimes when you can't even see the guy behind you, you'll get the blue flag thing. So it's probably a good idea to just wait to allow the guys behind to catch up a little bit before you let them past. That's what I would think about that. Anyway, Simba on lap number 24, coming towards the end of lap number 24, in the Indian-themed Ferrari. It's been one hell of a dominating season for Simba. As Boyan says, this was definitely a race to forget. I mean, it's not all that bad. 10th and 11th at some points. Oh, what was that? I don't know where I clicked. Sorry about that. Simba's been on a roll this season. This is going to be his 4th victory of the season in 6 races. I think it's going to be 5 fastest lap, 2 poles, 4 wins. It's 3 wins in a row, which, if my memory serves, it's a very rare feat. As a matter of fact, I think Tap has one of the few people who's done 3 wins in a row in ALR on Mondays, because it's not easy to win a feature then do a double. So yeah, like a previous feature or the next sprint, it's not impossible, it's not unheard of, but it's rare. Yeah, Boyan, you could have been last, or you could have DNF'd. So yeah, it's some points is always better. Gabo in 2nd, great race from Gabo. He's been consistent throughout, no mistakes. Made the pass early on the two leaders, Ayrton Senna and Sleepy, and then just kept it consistent and clean. Tried keeping Simba behind, but that I think was really futile given Simba's pace. But a great drive to consolidate the 2nd place, not allowing anyone else to even have a whiff of a chance at P2. Abhi on a sort of a recovery drive, after the opening sequence of corners. I think Abhi found himself in P8 or P9 if I remember correctly. fastest lap of the race for Abbey, one lap from the end. And Blade Runner, after what it must be said, fairly uneventful race. Blade Runner was ninth, I think, in the opening stint, after the opening stint, and made up a few places towards as the pit stops were closing in, and then an opportunistic, consistent drive from Blade Runner to finish fourth. And Michel was driving well until the incident with Gum. Really, and he got punished for no fault of his own, and that, I think, cost a couple of places, and that's going to affect the standings as it is as well. I think it was third and fifth for Michel in the sprint piece, and fifth and third for Abbey. So it is going to be close. Anyway, as I say, that Simba has won. So Simba has put in a shift, a dominating performance. A third win in a row, fourth win of the season, and so much time that such a huge lead out in front that's like 20 seconds or something. Gabo finished a very impressive P2. For the Renault boys, Abbey finishes third and gives more points to Ferrari. Blade Runner in fourth, Michel in fifth. So first and third for Ferrari, second and fourth for Renault. Michel, sort of damage limitation for Michel in this one. Sleepy with a fantastic drive to finish sixth, as Gaz finishes 14th, unfortunately a lap down. Ayrton Senna, who was third at one stage, and I think an unfortunate tyre selection cost him what would have been a fantastic podium in this one. Danos finishes 8th after a disastrous start and sort of a pretty terrible opening stint. He managed to extend it and find the soft tyres and made it last for the end. Gum finishing 9th in the end, losing out on 8th place, I think, Danos in the closing stages. Boyan 10th, a good drive. Oh, wait, what? Oh, let me... I should have paused that. Hold on. Quickly check what happened to his name. One moment. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. So, yeah. That's why it quit, because Inorganic also finished a lap down. Gum finished P9, I think, losing out on position to Danos in the end, and nearly lost out on 9th to Boyan. Boyan doing a pretty stellar job, 13 laps on those medium tyres, and IJF finishing 11th. Gaz finished 13th, so we had a couple of guys who didn't finish the race in the end. I think Rius was one of them. So DNF for Rius will hurt the Subarus in their pursuit of second in the championship, but they had nearly a 40-point advantage over the Renaults. So I wonder how this race will affect that. So the standings after 3 races: Simba, 37 points in the lead after 3 rounds. I can't find the adjectives to describe him. It's been one hell of a dominant season from these guys. This guy and his teammates, no slouch as well. In second, 84 points. I think 4 podiums, 2 sprint race wins. And because of that, the Ferrari find themselves 80 points in the lead of the constructor standings. Michel, despite all that happened, I think Michel still managed to be only 3 points behind Abbey for the in the end. I think that was the gap earlier as well. I think that was the gap earlier. I'm not so sure. Blade Runner in fourth with second place and fourth in the end in the features. So 64 points, and the two Renaults with a rather good performance, second and fourth in both races. They find themselves only 7 points off the back of the Subaru in the constructors championship. So Rius did finish, although I don't know. Rather, Rius didn't finish, but I think Rius must have cut out towards the end. So Rius did receive the points for finishing 14th, which I think is a couple of points. Every point is going to matter towards the end, but yeah, that's Subaru's lead of about 40 points has just sort of evaporated with that race. The two Mercs find themselves in fourth in the standings and fighting for fourth with the Lambos, 55 and 53 points for those guys. So, and in fact, actually, the Porsches, the single Porsche of Gumb, Rika, I think, is not raced yet in the series. So, Gumb, I think if Gumb had a teammate, that would be quite helpful in chasing down fourth. But there's a pretty big fight going on for fourth place in the constructor. The Merc, Lambo, and the Audi and Porsche all within sort of striking distance. Actually, the Astons are only 18 points behind. So there's a good fight going on there. But yeah, it's been this race has really been all about Simba. I think that is the definition of the perfect weekend, because 2 race wins, pole position, and 2 fastest laps. 43 points. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, and I think let's see when we will have the next race highlights. It has already happened, the race itself. I will try and get it done before Christmas. I'm not sure about that. Possibly tomorrow, but if not, then it'll probably happen in the new year. So, in any case, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. It's a little bit of a different kind of a slowish race compared to Trial Mountain, which is really chaotic. But yeah, sometimes that's just how it is. So thank you so much for watching and tuning in. And until next time, bye bye, good night.